Hello and welcome to Sincerely Elvis Presley. I'm Sean. If you're new to the channel or if you're a regular viewer, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. It's 2025, can you believe it? I thought I would kick off the new year by taking a little look at what I consider to be the most luxury deluxe bootleg box set ever released. There are a number of titles that could vie for that title. There is the Amiga Elvis on Tour special edition set that I showed in my 72 episode. There is the Final Curtain 77 by Boxcar Deluxe 2-book multiple CD and DVD set. I don't actually have that one, but I know it's a luxury product. So there are quite a number of box sets that could lay claim to the most deluxe luxury bootleg ever. But for me, it has to be Venus Productions, the Mono Masters. And hopefully once I've given you a little look at it, you'll see why I think that way. But first, let's just take a little look at Venus Productions, because over the years, you know, they've produced some really quality product, and I kind of wanted to show a couple of titles that didn't, although they're luxury, didn't really, you know, prepare us for what was to come. So the first one I have is Singer Presents Elvis. Now this was a 2011 release. This gave multiple different outtakes and versions from the 68 special, and it came housed in a really sweet little hardback book that gave you lots of pictures, bits of liner notes, and basically you got yourself a little book here, quite small in size, but this has become quite sought after over the years. This can be picked up still, but prices on this vary wildly. If you're lucky, you can get it for the £20–30 mark. If you're not lucky, you can be paying pushing £100 odd for this. It's a nice release, very nice release. Just kind of in a way made a bit sort of superfluous by the deluxe box set that came out from the official label. But let's say a nice little release. And that's an early one from Venus Productions, or relatively early. So that's 2011. 2 years later, they released this one, Elvis Presley, Keeping Them Warm. And this is the August the 22nd, 1972 midnight show in Vegas. And you get your CD, and then you get a little nice luxury hardback book detailing that summer season in Vegas. Really nice quality production. Again, this one's, it turns up from time to time, but it doesn't turn up that often, but you can still find copies. And again, for a bootleg, a really high quality product. I think you'll agree. Very nice indeed. So, you know, the Venus label itself, by the middle of the 2010s, had established itself as a label that came up with not only some interesting releases, but also some real quality releases. But I don't think anything prepared fans for what I'm about to show you. So this was released in 2016, and this is the Mono Masters 1960 to 1975. You can hear the CDs. Right, I've already taken the book out because I kind of knew it would be quite difficult to pull it out because of the sheer weight of it. I mean, this is just take a look at that. Just the box itself. Now, if this was an FTD, an official product, you'd say, wow, what a fantastic luxury product there. But this is a bootleg. Let's not forget, this is a bootleg. So, okay, just a bit of background. So this was a limited edition of 750 copies only. Now, in their infinite wisdom, Venus Products didn't number the box. It was on the hype sticker on the front. So if you didn't keep the hype sticker, you didn't know what number you've got. Now, this particular copy here, I was lucky enough to pick it up from a lovely Elvis fan called Philomena, who told me that she was in her 70s and was basically getting rid of her Elvis collection that she'd amassed over the years, simply because, in her words, well, you can't take it with you. And I know that sort of thought process arises at a lot of people sooner or later. So I was really lucky to be able to pick this up from Philomena. Whether that sort of thought process will reach me, I'm not sure, because if I was to sell my collection, that would be the third time, and surely that's one time too many. So I don't know if I'll get around to that way of thinking. But thank you so much, Philomena, for allowing me to get this copy from you. Philomena hadn't kept the hype sticker, so I don't know which number of the 750 this is. It's a nice little guessing game. Could be any one of 750. But yeah, let me tell you what the theory behind this release is, and then I'm going to sort of show you what you got. So, mono is how most listeners first heard Elvis in the 1950s and 1960s, when it was the predominant audio format. Until 1968, each Elvis album was given a unique mono and stereo mix, but Elvis always regarded the mono mix as primary. That's interesting. This was also true for singles. Up until affordable home stereo systems in the late 1960s, the record industry always regarded stereo as secondary. Going back to its debut in the late 1950s, mono singles, EPs and LPs were the standard for retail and radio. Simply put, mono had all the sound mixed in a single channel and was meant to be listened to on a turntable with a built-in speaker, a car radio, or a standalone AM radio receiver. The goal was to create mono master master tapes with as much clarity and power as possible. When EMI released mono masters of the Beatles in 2009, they received rave reviews. Left out in the cold were Elvis's loyal fans. It's taken a bit far, but you see what I mean. Somehow, Sony didn't see a reason why they might want the pleasure of listening to his original mono mixes. So when we first this is Venus talking. So when we first heard about the existence of the original mono master tapes of Elvis's hit singles, it was an easy decision to make these available to the fans in a 5-disc collection. Elvis acclaimed mono tracks have been newly mastered for CD using the best digital technology. Hours were dedicated to concentrated listening, fastidiously comparing these master tapes with mint mono first pressings. The result is a perfect reproduction of Elvis' original mono vinyl sound. So what you get in this set, you get all the single sides, including 24 completely unreleased in their original mono mix, an LP-size 480-page hardback book containing rare pictures plus original US and rare foreign singles, and a stunning bonus picture with a 2016 calendar on the back. So, quite an impressive little package, and let me show you that impressive little package. So, let's start with the box itself. We've just seen the box, and you can hear the CDs rattling around inside because it's the book that kind of, when it's on top of them, keeps them in place. So, there's your photograph that came with it. Really nice reproduction, and it came with this 2016 calendar. And here are the CDs. So that's what the inside of the box looks like. And your CD's sitting there, and then the book sits on top of it. So let's have a look at these CDs. Now, I have to say, although the selling point of these is how fantastic the CDs sound, I haven't heard them. and there's a reason for that. They're still sealed, and I've kind of at the moment picked this up a couple of months back, and I've kind of not been inclined to break the seal so far. But let me tell you, so there is CD1, and ooh, that's a lot of white that focus didn't like. I hope that track list comes out for you. And as you can see, the disc that needs to slot into there is still in its sealed case. Oh, and the other thing is that all of these join together. Well, you've got that one that's the picture itself, and then all the other CDs, the sleeves join together to make the big picture of that. But which is very reminiscent of the old Reader's Digest Elvis Presley's Greatest Hits from 1975. So that's your cover of CD2, and hopefully we can get you your tracks. Hope that's come out, because it's very grey and dark here in the UK today, so I've had to have more lights on than normal, and it kind of messes the focus a little bit. But hopefully you've been able to see what disc 2 gives you. CD3. CD3, CD4, sealed, and the last one, CD5. And we finish with Pieces of My Life. So yeah, it goes through to 75, and there's your sealed. So there's your 5 discs. Impressive enough in itself, but to me, this is the mind-blowing thing. This is easily as good as anything FTD has produced. This is a fantastic book. Just glorious. And what you get is you get each, let's get a single to start with. It shows you the single, and then you get sort of period pictures from that particular single, and each one of the singles, the tracks that are on the CDs, is presented that way. You get the single laid out, and then you get just a beautiful selection of photographs illustrative of the period for each one. It's honestly, I could not believe, when I knew kind of what this was, hadn't really seen anyone show it in any detail, but you know, I've done a bit of Googling and kind of knew what it was, and knew that it was something I really wanted to add to my collection. So kept my eye out for it for when one turned up at a reasonable price. But even though I kind of knew what it was going to be delivering, knowing what it's going to be delivering and sort of opening it up and seeing it, yeah, you know, when to look at a book of this quality, knowing what it takes for a major company with, you know, a record label weight behind it like FTD, what it would cost to produce, but for an independent bootlegger to come up with something of this magnitude, I just words fail me. I mean, you need to let me know in the comments if if you were lucky enough to get this at the time, if you're able to get it since, and what your thoughts are. Or if you haven't been lucky enough to pick up a copy, just let me know what you think of what you see, because I honestly do not know of another bootleg that does it as well as this, and does it as comprehensively as this. It is just fantastic. And as I say, I don't know which number I've got, but I kind of like that, you know. Could be number 1. I might have number 1. I might have number 750. Yeah, just never know. But yeah, this is spectacular. I know I often say that you know, I don't show huge amounts of you know, the contents of each book, because I don't want to spoil it for someone that might get it. But bearing in mind that this is such a limited edition and only 750 people in the world will ever own a copy, I think it's like fairly safe to say that you know, I probably aren't going to be spoiling it, and it's nice to be able to share it if it's something that you haven't seen before, because as I say, I just struggle to think of anything as good as this in its sort of field. I think it's, you know, unless if you know of a bootleg release, because let's face it, yeah, you can. There are plenty of luxury standalone books out there by all sorts of different publishers and authors and what have you, that give you a real luxury product. But this is the book that accompanies a 5 CD set. This is the kind of I don't know, the hors d'oeuvre. I don't know what you want to call it. This you know, this isn't a book release. This is a book to accompany a CD set, and that's what makes it so extraordinary, as far as I'm concerned. Is it just what it offers is amazing. I mean, I can't really think of anything that's comparable to this. And I will eventually get around to opening those CDs and having a listen, because it'd be really interesting to see what all those mono masters sound like. Whether, you know, if the blurb that the producers said is true, and you know they've managed to make them sound as good as they claim to have, then I'm looking forward to hearing those, because they should have a real punch to them. It's an interesting one, isn't it? You know, I've always been a huge advocate of the stereo sound and stereo separation, but you know, there are times when I've heard Elvis's mono versions, and they have had a kind of a heft and a punch behind them that stereo lacks, even though the stereo's got that sort of nice sense of clarity and separation. So there's definitely an argument for both, and I think it's instructive that Elvis himself favoured the mono mixes. So if the man himself favoured them, there's got to be a lot to be said for them. As you can see, you know, we're going all through his career, as each sort of single dictates that, with publicity shots. Just, he roused about at the moment, but you know, you've still got your 153 pages in. Roused about, what are we on? Crying in the Chapel. You get lyrics, you get who wrote it, you get his first appearance on an LP. Amazing. Just amazing. It's quite funny actually, when when I managed to pick this up, it hadn't appeared on eBay for quite some time, quite a considerable length of time. And then it was, and I think this happens a lot with eBay, once people see someone else listing something, they'll tend to watch it and see what happens to it. And then if it sells, it's suddenly like waiting for a bus and loads turn up at once. Because I think shortly after I'd got this, about 3 got listed. You know, so there's 4 copies out of only 750 worldwide that kind of appeared for sale almost at once. But yeah, I definitely think people obviously think, well, hey, that's sold, mine will sell. And that's what tends to happen. So if you do see something come up for sale and you're not lucky enough to win it, just bide your time and have a look in the sort of week or so following that, and you may well find that others turn up. That's certainly been my experience anyway. But just, you know, I'm kind of run out of superlatives. I hope you just see them for yourself, just how incredibly brilliant a release this is. And one, if you happen to see it and it's at a good price, you're not going to go wrong by getting yourself it, because it's brilliant, utterly brilliant. I'd love to sit here and show you every page, but I'm not, you know, it doesn't really work holding it up the way I hold it up. But I hope I'm showing you as much as I can to really give you a feel. I'm trying to do a little bit more than I would normally do, simply because I think it's such a landmark bootleg release. I think bootleg almost does this a disservice, because as I say, if this was an FTD and you got this as an FTD, you'd be delighted. You'd in no way, it's that good. It is that good. So we're obviously, what, 69 now, I would have thought? Yep, there we go. Beautiful. And the book's not bad either. Yeah, this is, look at that, look at that. Right. So, what have we got? What's great is one of those, because it breaks it all up track by track, if you like. You know, you could stick the CD on and just lose yourself in the book. What a great way to spend a few hours. Christmas. Have we got a Christmas single? We have indeed. So there we go. I hope you'll agree with me. Just one of the best ever. It's, you know, you can't even give it a mark out of 10. It's one of those where you'd give it a 20 out of 10. It's just great. Not a bad word to say, other than the fact it's really heavy. I mean, if I'm going to be picky, the box itself, because the book is so heavy, it pushes down, and there's some splitting along the box because it just can't take the weight of the book, even though it's a hefty enough box. But not a deal breaker by any means. That's just a design flaw. You put something this heavy in, you're going to need something pretty hefty to house it. And it's not a thin box by any means, but it's just, the weight of it's just too much for the bottom box. So there we go. There's your Mono Masters. And then actually at the end, Venus get a couple of plugs in for their product, and you see the two that I'd outlined earlier, which, as I said, were good, but nothing like this. This is just spectacular. As I said, if you see it and you get the chance and you're able to get it, do yourself a favour, because there's nothing quite like it out there that I can think of, and you know, I cannot recommend it highly enough. It's brilliant. So the Mono Masters 1960 to 1975. If that's something that you've not seen before, I hope you enjoyed that little look at it. As I said, if it's something you have got and you've got any thoughts on it, please do let me know in the comments. But whatever, I hope you enjoyed that look through what I consider the most spectacular deluxe import bootleg CD set and book, accompanying book, that I've ever seen, and that may well be the best I ever see. Who knows? You know, kind of something often comes along to top it. But that was 2016, so it's been a fair while now, and I don't think there's been anything like it since. But you never know, do you? You never know. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. As ever, I appreciate it. What I'll probably do from now on, as I said, I think earlier in an episode, is for a while pull things like that out and have a little bit of a deeper delve into them than I would normally, because, you know, it's nice for me to see them, because quite often they sit on the shelf and, you know, the months will pass and oh yeah, I'll look at that for a while. But yeah, let me know what you think. If that was enjoyable and you'd like to see more like that, let me know. If it wasn't enjoyable and you don't want to see more like that, let me know as well. You know, I'll always try and do what I can to accommodate. Although this face stays the same, there's not a lot I can do about that, unfortunately. But anyway, thank you again for watching. If for any reason you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe, and please click on that notification bell, because it will let you know when I upload new content. I know that I'm usually quite regular, and it's usually a Sunday at 6 o'clock GMT, but I do put other content out other times, and I'm not entirely sure if people do see that, if they're not aware that it's out there. So if you're going to subscribe, then by all means click on the notification bell and you'll just get notified when I upload new content. I love your comments. You know I love your comments, so please leave your comments and let me know what you think. But until next week, you take care of yourself. Ta-da.
We'll meet you again. God bless you. Adios.